Hello. Um, this is kind of my confession. Um, when I walked down Joy Street, I was fighting a demon that had been raging in my head. The anger was old. It was born many years ago, and it grew, flourished, and it triumphed over my happiness. All that's left seeks three things: vengeance, blood, and end. Let me tell you my story. It's very short, and it happened quickly, and the facts of that night have severed my will to live and function. My old life was perfect. Everything was tight, snug, and the smoothness to which my life flowed was like a dream of happiness that ended in a nightmare that I can't get out of my head. I was working late, and when I came home, I smelled the delicious dinner that my wife had prepared. After walking through the door, I saw red everywhere. My first absurd thought was that the splatters must be a joke. What were my kids up to? Denial. Fucking denial. I walked through the house, and I saw the remains of my family. I lost 3 daughters and a beautiful wife, and I stepped over their scattered body parts in a state of absolute nothingness. Nothing. I felt nothing. No rage, no loss, no fear, no sadness. I've never been in a suspended state of zero. When the feelings came, they rocked me with hurricane-like force, and it was relentless. I was suddenly soaked, and something overloaded popped, fizzled. I even heard tiny explosions as the connections in my head came undone. I saw like fireworks, little tiny explosions in my peripheral vision. After my legs stopped working, after they became too heavy, I saw the killer at the top of the stairs with a bloody chainsaw. I watched 4 drops. 1, 2, 3, 4 drops of blood fall on his shoe. 1 for each loss, I thought. Well, he slowly walked down the stairs, and he walked with cocky confidence, and our eyes were locked the entire time, but I did nothing. No reaction, nothing. But he must have sensed my frozen, broken down state, so he just walked past me and left the house. That was 5 years ago, and in that time, my happy little life turned to shit. I became homeless. I'm sure you can fill in the blanks as to how I got there. Now, I eventually found my way to New York City, begging for money. Begging for money. But one day, I saw him. Ah, those eyes, those grinning lips. He gave me a quarter without a glance. It was him. My God, it was him. He was laughing with a pretty red head, and his new suit looked so expensive. Well, I followed him. I studied him. I learned his patterns, his habits, his friends. After that, I started by killing the redhead a few weeks later. simple and sweet, and the sounds my knife made were glorious. I was playing my instrument, and it produced a sonata of screams, gurgling, gasping, and then the quietness of death. It was music as well. I felt my stress, my bitterness, my anger fade. I watched him more and more, and I witnessed his breakdown. His deepening paranoia consumed him as his family and friends all slowly disappeared, died. My music. He knew something was toying with him. He knew the mistakes and the monsters had turned against him and were showing him the consequences of his actions. So when I walked down Joy Street and I got to his house, I didn't recognize the green car that was parked in the drive. Perhaps it was a new detective that was on his case. So I waited and watched, and finally when the killer of my family came out of the house with the other man, I realized my mistake. The other man was his twin. His twin. Do you understand? Well, that's my confession. Maybe I will tell you more.